Sana namang magandang episode ngayon ng episode natin sa WizPod. Ang ating guest ay isang practicing lawyer, former councilor, former congressman, former mayor. Wala pong iba kundi si Attorney Mauricio Dumogan.
Nung pagdating ni attorney kanina, sabi ko para ako na starstruck kasi for the first time in my life, naririnig ko lang po yung pangalan na Dumogan kasi from my mother, kasi yung mother ko 30 years na sa service. And na-starstruck ako nung nakita ko papasok si attorney. Sabi ko, finally, nakita ko siya in person.
Actually, first time ko rin nakita si Attorney.
Well, thank you very much. Kayong aming mga anak, palagi kong sinasabi, starting with my children, sana pagbutihin ninyo. It is our happiness, your success. Ang dinadasal namin, kayo sana ang aming mga anak na mas mabuti pa ang inyong kalagayan. Continue to climb the ladder of success na hindi naman sa galing sa kalukuhan o korupsyon na align sa teaching ng ating Panginoon. That's the happiness of parents.
Opo, maraming salamat po dun sa words, Attorney. Speaking of younger generation, gusto po namin malaman kasi alam naman natin, your life is an open book. Natakal na yan ng iba-ibang interviews. Ngayon, gusto namin malaman is, ano po ba ang bagyo nung kabataan niyo?
Yeah, ang aking buhay is an open book. Ako ay isang orphan. Galing from the wilderness of the mountains. 2 years old ako nung kami, dalawa lang kaming magkapatid. Yung kapatid ko 5 araw lang nung iniwan kami ng aming ina. Iniwan kami ng aming ama. Hanap ng trabaho sa mina to help us survive. Naiwan ako sa aking grandfather on my mother's side, uncle and aunt. Silang nagpalaki sa akin. Yung aking kapatid, kala nila mamamatay kasi wala namang gatas na may bibili sa aming lugar at the time. Dinadala lang sa mga breastfeeding mothers na willing to share their natural milk. Dumating yung time na hindi na siya magdidi. Mabuti na lang siguro tulong ng Panginoon. Kinuha yung aming auntie, uncle. Kasi kami, party ng Ilocosur boundary, yung pumuha sa kanya from Busao Mountain Province, dinala sa Sagada. Walking mga about 24 hours, hiking up and down the mountain. Awa ng Diyos, in short, nabuhay siya. Well, ganon yung simula ko. Simula ko akong mabuhay, talagang sa hirap. I came to the city of Baguio, parang hindi mahaba. Only 1965 to pursue my college education. Umupa ako sa Holy Ghost proper ng squatter's house along the creek. House nila Mr. Paulino na walang ilaw, walang tubig. Yun yung kaya ko. 5 pesos a month.
Grabe, 5 pesos.
Mabuti na lang. Nakuha ako na membro ng Rondalyaban ng Baguiotic din at the time, now University of Baguio. Diyan ako nag-aral ng aking Bachelor of Arts for 4 years. So, ay iningatan ko yung aking scholarship na yan as member of the Rondalyaban na iyon yung tumulong sa akin. Kasi libre yung tuition fee, 6 pesos and 50 centavos yung aming miscellaneous fee.
Grabe, no?
So, nakatapos ako ng Bachelor of Arts. Absent ako sa aking graduation, mga anak. Kasi, bakit? Nung about to graduate ako, diyan lang pumasok sa aking isip na gusto kong ipagpatuloy sa abogasya. Sa College of Law, ang aking pag-aaral. Ngunit problema namin, wala akong gamitin. So, nagtrabaho ako during that summertime of 1969. I work underground sa Lipanto. Yun yung dahilan na I was absent in my graduation. Graduation happens once in a lifetime, but dahil sa pumasok sa aking isip, I was absent. Mabuti na lang, tulong ng ating Panginoon, yun, natupad. Na, sige, halos bahala na. Nag-enroll ako sa College of Law, 1969. And fortunately, again, nakuha ako ng government scholar. Commission on National Integration. Ito ay scholarship na ginagrant ng gobyerno sa membro ng indigenous peoples. Total free ang tuition fee. Mayroong pang allowance na 40 pesos a month. Malaking bagay yan for us at the time. So, iningatan ko naman yan. So, yun yung tumulong sa akin to finish my Bachelor of Laws na sa time na yan, first time ko na pumunta sa UP Diliman, Quezon City, 1973 to take my bar review to take the bar examination. So, ganun lang. And my scholarship paid for my tuition fee to take the review. And then, yung 40 pesos na tinatanggap ko na allowance, pinagkakasya mo yan. Hindi punta sa masamang bisyo. Which, fortunately, when the bar examination result was released, isa naman tayong pumasa. We were 10. Kaming graduates of Baguio Colleges at Foundation at the time, hindi pa University of the Cordilleras. Kami lang 14 kami. Out of 27 fourth-year students, 14 kami na who graduated, if my memory serves me right. Out of 14, 10 lang kami who took the bar review and bar exam. Out of 10, 5 ang pumasa. I am one of the 5. Unfortunate na my companions, 3 of them are already in the other life. 2 lang kaming naiwan, si Jane Guarino at myself. Si Jane Guarino nagtrabaho sa Central Bank. So, ganun yung
Central Bank.
Nagsimula ako na yun. Of course, I decided to go to private law practice, to paddle my own canoe in the private law practice. 1974. Sinimulan ko yung aking law office sa law office ni my professor, Attorney Benjamin Fernando. Halos meron kami sarili-sariling office. It was a very loose partnership, but of course, we became close as office mates. So hanggang lumaki ang aking law office, umabot nga kami ng about 13. When I stopped practicing because I entered government service, umabot kami ng mga 13 lawyers sa aking Nag-separate kami kay Atty. Fernando kasi marami yung gustong sumama sa kanya. Marami din yung gustong sumama sa akin. So, kulang yung
building.
Space namin. So, humanap ako ng mas malawang law office na diyan kami nag-transfer. Nagsimula akong maglaro of course, ng aking leisure at that time. Bowling.
Saan po ang bowling nun?
Olympian Alley. That was known as one of the best bowling alley in the north during that time. Dumada yung tiga Manila diyan. Bowling ang aking laro. Ngunit na-discourage ako sa bowling kasi...
Bakit po?
Yung nanonood sa likuran mo na naglalaro, nagpupusta pala sila ng first ball. And then, manalo, ganonin nila sa paa nila sa floor. Lilipad yung alikabok. It's not anymore healthy. So, yun. I started playing chess. It so happened that mathematics is my number 1 favorite subject. And nilalaro ko yung dama. Yung nakita ko yung chess, it's more or less associated with mathematics. So, that's how I started playing chess also.
Kilala nga daw po kayo magaling mag-chess.
Hindi naman. Hindi naman. Alam natin na maglaro ng chess.
Attorney, yung location kung saan kayo nag-chess, yung sa may Sunshine, yung across, Yung Igorot
Sa may
Garden ba yun?
Igorot Park.
Yeah.
Doon na po talaga ang original na lugar kung
Sa
saan
baba
nagsisimula
ng
ang mga-
session.
Kami, sa aming law office, kami naglalaro. Of course, once in a while, dyan, hindi, sa yung Igorot Garden, sa plaza kami noon na naglalaro, yung gilid ng plaza. Of course, nung na-improve yung Igorot Park, dyan sila
Doon
nag-transfer.
na sila lumipat.
Oo.
Pero ganun pa rin po dati, yung meron pang mga time.
Oh yeah, of course. Meron yung mga time, meron yung walang time, meron yung may time.
Mismo.
Especially, alam naman ninyo the City of Baguio hosted the World Championship, yung labanan nila Bobby Fischer at si Korsnoy of Russia.
Anong year po yun?
That was the reason why na-construct ang convention center.
Talaga po ba?
Yes! Yun yung venue na ginamit ng Pilipinas as the venue of the battle between Korsnoy of Russia and Bobby Fischer
Oh,
of the
kaya
United
pala.
States. Na diyan ko nakita yung sinasabi nilang psychologist ng Russian.
Walang poker face na kahit na ano po.
Talagang ulit, nanalo si Bobby Fischer. I think it was
Pala history na.
Korsnoy who was the defending world champion at the time na tinalo ni Bobby Fischer.
So kaya po pala tinayo ang convention center dahil dun sa laban eh. He was
Dahil
motivated.
during the time of course, Madam Imelda Marcos when the old man, President Ferdinand Marcos, was the President of the Philippines, tinayo yan. And then, dyan yung nagamit. Which that was owned, the area was owned by GSIS. And of course, during our time, yun nga, nakikita ko, sinasabi nila yung Baguio City is a tourism destination, educational center, convention center of the North. Walang convention center. So, gumawa kami ng paraan na mabili natin yan from GSIS. So, nabili na natin yan. Nagamit natin yung lease rental share natin from Janhi Development na pinagbayad sa GSIS. Kung hindi sana nagka-problema, walang cash outlay from the city government, ngunit may konting problema. I do not like to go on to the details of the So, dinagdagan na namin ng pera ng city. Nabili na natin yan sa iyo, aming mga anak to.
Grabe, no?
Ang galing. History yun. Speaking of your term during your political years, attorney, if you compare Baguio now, ano po ang Baguio nung nasa ano ka? Nung nakaupo po kayo?
When I came in the government service, actually 1988, the first election that had been done after EDSA Revolution number 1 during the Cory administration. Yun nakalagay na councilor lang tayo po dyan. Ayaw kong punta sa politika, wala akong kakaya-kaya. Ngunit talagang naitulak ako dyan kasi yung inaksip ko at that time, tama naman yung sabi ni si Apo Congressman Honorati Aquino, ang congressman natin at that time. Nung magawa yung first election after EDSA Revolution 1, sabi niya, dito sa Baguio, dapat makakuha tayo ng ating line-up from the different, representing the different tribes living in the city. So may Ilocano, may Pangasinan, may Tagalog, may Highlanders, ganon, Bisaya. So I accepted the chairmanship to select yung chairman ng Highlanders. At napili namin may relative, the late Uncle Galo Wigan. Unfortunately, an accountant and practitioner dito. Unfortunately, few days before the deadline of filing of candidacy, iba yung isip ni Apo Galo Wigan. So, dyan ako tinulak. Wala nang iba. Ikaw na. Dyan ako tinulak. So, that was the start of my political life in government. Anyway, matapos yung 4 years, kasi 4 years yung term ng counselor at that time, gusto kong babalik sa private law practice. Talagang mahirap. Ang sitwasyon ng Bagyo at that time, of course, we have much lower population. Wala pa yung mga ibang buildings dito. Yung aking pathway na dinibilap ko from Holy Ghost to going to the market, yung former yung SLU compound, that was entirely forested with big pine trees at the time.
Grabe, puro puno.
So, talagang ganun yung sitwasyon ng Bagyo at the time. Hindi masyado marami yung tao at well, of course, walang traffic except sometimes during Holy Week in summer times there were instances na meron din yung traffic. Ganon yung sitwasyon ng Bagyo at that time. Hindi masyadong marami yung mga houses. The 1970s. But as the years goes by, talagang dumami ang tao sa Bagyo. Now, 1992, diyan ako nagsimula na first term ko as janitor of the city of Bagyo. Talagang it was a difficult start as a janitor. Bakit?
Bakit po?
Sirang-sira ang
oo.
Bagyo
Dahil
and
dun sa
surrounding
earthquake.
areas dahil sa killer earthquake of July 16, 1990. Talagang mga kalsada mo and mga facilities mo kasi alam naman ninyo na lumubog yung Hyatt Hotel, lumubog yung Nevada Hotel, yung Burnham Hotel, Hilltop Hotel, dami yung lumubog. Sira lahat yung ating kalsada. The height of the rehabilitation of Bagyo during our time.
Ang dami ko pong narinig na mga stories during that time, mga horror stories. Di ko ma-imagine paano nyo inumpisahan po yung rehabilitation nun kasi talagang sirang-sira nga po talaga ang Bagyo nun.
Di actually, nung nangyari, nasan kayo ng attorney? Nung nangyayari yung earthquake?
Well, kagagaling ko sa opisina, sa korte, nag-hearing ako sa Provincial Prosecutor's Office sa Benguet. Pinaparada ko yung sasakyan ko sa aking law office sa ground. Naggalit ako, parang may tumutulak sa aking kotse. So, binuksan ko at gusto kong huliin sino ang tumutulak. Wala din. Nakita ko yung building sa kabila. Lindol pala na gumaganon. Hindi pala tao ang tumutulak sa aking And then, of course, lahat kami sa opisina, lumabas kami sa open ground. After na medyo nawala na yung first na malakas na matagal yung first strike na intensity 7 point
Solid, 7 point something.
plus hinting. Yung unang pumunta sa isip ko, tumakbo ko ako sa aking pamilya, sa aking bahay kung tingnan ko, awa ng Diyos, minimal naman yung yung mga cabinet mi lang nang natumba at may nabasag. And then, sinundan ng ulan during that night. So, I got out. Then, of course, you're a servant of the city. Lumabas ako. Unang pinuntahan ko, Burnham Hotel. So, kahit siguro kalakas yung inyong pakiramdam, sa ganong marinig mo, tutulo ang inyong luha. Talaga nga makasangit ka. Bakit? Naririnig mo kasi nag-accordion yung Burnham Hotel.
Which is
Lumubog.
Skyworld po yun ngayon,
No. Iba yung Skywall na natumba dito sa Along Harrison Road.
Okay.
May hotel dyan na malaki. Known as Burnham Hotel. Nag-accordion yan. Pumasok sa loob. Naririnig mo ang mga sumisigaw sa loob na, tulungan ninyo kami na wala kang magawa to. help them. Kasi wala eh. Then sila. And then, umuulan. Then, from there, pumunta ako sa Hayat. Parihas din. Dami yung naririnig mo na sumisigaw sa sumisigaw
Sa
ng
saklolo.
saklolo, ngunit wala kang magawa. Then, sa Nevada Hotel, ganun din. It was so terrifying, kakatakot. At yung rehabilitation, yun nga, yung first term ko, si Apo Congressman Vergara ang aking partner, hindi kami magkapartido. So I said, dapat mag-unite tayo, which we did. Swerte natin, tiga Bagyo, tas give credit to him, si Apo Ramos ang presidente. Na inalis kami, naka-line up ni President Ramos during that election of 1992. Inalis kami. Kami ang original na kasama na. Inalis kami. Alam mo ng politika eh. Anyway, noong nanalo siya, hindi niya tayo nakalimutan. Malaking tulong yung ginawa niya sa pag-release ng National Fund na ginamit natin to rehabilitate yung Bagyo. Yung Bagyo Bawang Road, that was, I think, about 600 million. Yung gawin ng 600 million at that time, talagang marami.
Marami
Hindi
na.
kagaya ngayon na kahit sinasabi na bilyon-bilyon, halos wala kang makita na gawin niya. Of course, yung Bagyo La Trinidad, lahat ng mga nasirang kalsada sa Bagyo. And this cannot be finished overnight. That's why, rain or shine, I go home about 9 o'clock in the evening, monitoring lahat yung mga ongoing rehabilitation projects. Dami kasi yung Then, without anybody's knowing, ako, while my first semester, 1965 is nag-enroll ako sa college engineering ngunit. Sa hirap ng aming buhay, hindi ko tinuloy kasi ayaw yung aking ama. Sabi niya, kung gusto mong ipagpatuloy yung college education mo, take up education. That was how I was forced to take up EB. I shifted from engineering to EB. Without anybody's knowing, I took the late engineer Filino Lagman as my secret eyes in monitoring the quality of projects. Magkonferensya lang kami na walang nakakaalam, mga about 8 o'clock in the evening. Sasabihin na, linuloko tayo dyan. Oh, okay, yung face nila dyan, hindi naman sila nalilit sa timetable. So, malaking bagay. Ayaw kong sabihin na nahuli namin na medyo kalukuhan, pabayaan mo yan. That's why talagang hirap yung sitwasyon ng Bagyo. Mabuti na lang. Pinagpatuloy tayo 1995. So tinuloy natin ang rehabilitation. Yung paggawa ng circumferential road, well, of course, kasi yung rehabilitation ng Marcos Highway, 1.6 billion more or less yan. Then, from Marcos Highway, yung tinakbo ng circumferential road, hindi kami mahirapan na magpatulong kay Apo Presidente Ramos ng pondo kung yung prohekto na papapunduan mo ay kasali sa Master Development Plan na ginawa ng European Union Urban Planners. Kasi noong nalindol tayo, may grant na binigay ng European Union to conduct urban planning to the victims of the killer earthquake, isa yung Bagyo. And tinuro nga ang circumferential road. So, yun. Tumulong si Ramos. At yung circumferential road na sinasabi natin, inner circumferential road as far as Baguio City is concerned, kung galing ka sa Marcos Highway and then mag-turn right ka, baba ka sa Balakbak, then you will come out Cam7, then you come out Luacan, and then sa Luacan, mag-right ka Happy Hollow, lalabas ka sa Country Club, and then punta ka sa Ambuklaw Road, And then from Ambuklaw Road, sila going to Tomay, Tublay. So,
Grabe.
parang iwasan mo yung traffic dito sa sentro kung diyan ka pupunta. And then, from Marcos Highway, mag-turn na, kung galing ka sa Manila, turn left ka down to the former Puyat Farm. Daanan mo yung subdivision nila, diyan, baba ka sa Puyat Farm, which is now Pinewoods. Then,
Pinewoods.
cross sa Asin Road, akyat ka sa Irisan, Nagilian Road ka, and then sa Lamtang, mag-right ka, aakyat ka sa Tamawan, then Pico. Parang iwasan mo. Hindi yung mga bihikulo na galing dyan napunta sa La Trinidad or to the north, dyan, pwedeng daanin nila. Hindi sila dadaan sa sentro ng City of Baguio. Na natapos yung Baguio side, unfortunately, in the blessed area, hindi pa natapos. I hope that will be done. Kasi malaking bagay that will help address the traffic problem of Baguio, yung congestion of Baguio, and urban decay of Baguio, kung matapos lahat sa blessed area para there will be alternative sites of development where investors can go, where condominium can be put up. Hindi nakasintro lahat sa Baguio. Ganun naman yung concept yan. Of course, yung flyover na yan, overpasses. Kami naman Apo Vergara yung dyan. The rehabilitation of health center, Baguio General Hospital, yung pagtayo ng Plavir building dyan, halos billion yan at that time. So, what is Baguio today is because of the teamwork of people led by their officials then at that time na tinulungan na tayo by the national government. Of course, si Apo President Ramos. Sumunod si Irap. Nakakuha ko ng pundok kay Irap na 320 million sa short period of time na siya ang presidente. And of course, si Apo Gloria Macapagal Arroyo. Malaking tulong. The rehabilitation of the Halsima Road, that is, of course, principally, bigyan natin ng credit si President GMA, Gloria Macapagal Arroyo. Yung
Grabe, no?
yun. So, ganon yung nangyari. What is Baguio now? Of course, different siya kung sa many years back kasi hindi masyadong marami yung tao, hindi masyadong marami yung condominiums. Ngunit, gusto at hindi natin part ng direction, development ng global village, lahat ng siguro dahil sa ating unique climate, of course, the general peaceful situation ng Baguio, at maganda yung climate, yung tao, kahit na different tribes sila, wala namang ganong problema. Well, of course, noon, the discrimination against the Igoros had been high, but it was by years been changed, hindi ganon. So, problema natin sa Baguio, as far as population is concerned, of course, number one, that immediately increased the population of Baguio, yung closure of the mining operations in the surrounding areas. Yung number one na pinuntahan yung mga trabahador sa Benguet Exploration, Black Mountain, Benguet Corporation, and the other Santo Niño Mines, Western Minorco, Baguio. You can just imagine. Those people who came. So, and then, yung mga ibang probinsya who by business or by reasons of business or employment, pumunta sila dito, ayaw nang babalik sa kanilang probinsya. Gusto nilang manirahan dito. Hindi mo naman pwedeng pigilan mga yan makabili sila ng lupa.
Tama.
Ay wala kang talagang magawa diyan. So that of course increase the population of Baguio, which to all of us, if we look at the history of Baguio, it was planned by then architect Daniel Burnham, a renowned architect, planner of the United States, world planner, who planned for Washington DC, a lot of the cities in the United States, in other areas. Siya ang nagplano ng Baguio City in the early 1900s to be good only for 25,000 people.
25,000 lang. Ano na po tayo ngayon? Quadruple na yun ang number na yun.
Yeah. Yun yung kasi di lang quadruple.
Grabe.
Oo,
more or less.
sobrang dami na eh.
Yung residents ng Baguio, maybe at this time, because mga more or less 400 plus thousand. But, take note, we have the students, about maybe 100 to even 100 plus thousand who will live with us throughout the whole year round. Puwera pa yung mga negosyante coming from the adjoining municipalities na araw-araw pumupunta dito na magnegosyo, magbenta ng So, that's the situation of Baguio. But, well, that's part of the challenge that every urban centers face.
On a lighter note po, Chinese New Year. Tayo po yung nag-engineer ng Chinese New Year na nagaya na rin po sa mga ibang cities dito sa Pilipinas. Paano po yun nag-originate po ba?
Hindi naman siguro nag-engineer. Ganito na lang. Nung pumasok tayo sa gobyerno, tinitingnan ko ang ating mga kapatid at kababayan na Filipino-Chinese. In fairness, tumutulong din sila sa time of calamities or emergency during my first term as mayor. Kahit na hindi ko sila inisa-isa o tinatawagan kung may malaking typhoon,
Sakuna.
nandyan sila, tumutulong sa akin. We had been joining them, celebrating Chinese New Year, known as Lunar Year of the Chinese. Even 1992, katatapos na Lindo, 1993. Ngunit yan, it was not made as official activity of the city government. Sila lang yan. So, we were invited, some are invited joining them. Ngunit, tinitingnan ko, pursuant to, sa aking pananaw, na tayo different tribes tayo sa city of Baguio. Dapat, we should feel as member of one family. So to give credit also to them. Kasi yun yung isang kultura nila that they carried with them. They are now here in the city of Baguio. And yun nga, tumutulong sila sa pangangailangan ng city. And then, tingnan mo yung negosyo, halos control nila yung negosyo. City of Baguio, creating employment. And then, during calamities, tumutulong naman sila. So sabi ko, to recognize also our Filipino-Chinese community, let us make this as an official activity of the city government. We started appropriating city fund and to just show our support as well as recognition na that's one of the customs and traditions that they carry with them is also part of the tradition that we should celebrate in the city of Baguio. So that was how it was lumaki. And that was in 1998, if my memory serves me right, when we proclaimed the Chinese Lunar Year as an official activity of the city government. Fortunately, many years after, the national government came out with a proclamation proclaiming the Chinese New Year as an official holiday of the government. That
Galing,
was the story that. So,
Kailan po nag-start? Anong year po ulit nag-start yun, attorney? Yung nung naging na siya, part na siya ng city government.
1998.
1998.
Nung umupo tayo, yung hirap natin 1992, Unang-una, yung rehabilitation. Marami. Problema lahat. Yung garbage disposal system natin. Yung disiplina natin. Ang dumi. Ang City of Baguio. At yung nilagay nilang market below City Hall. Ay, sus. Yung daanan sa Sanduita Street, nilagyan ng pwesto. Kalsada yan eh. So, nahirapan tayo. And that was how it led us also to started the Clean and Green program of the City of Baguio,
Yes.
which is known as Alay sa Kalinisan. We started that. I started that July of 1992. And again, to give credit to somebody who helped us a lot, it was Engineer Felino Lagman that had given me, I think, 25,000 pesos to start the Alay sa Kalinisan. Ay, yung aming goal at the time is, of course, linisan natin yung ating surrounding. Yung coverage ng Alay sa Kalinisan is 1. Of course, yung cleanliness na actual, which includes yung garbage disposal system, yung air quality. So, anong gawin natin sa the number one source of pollution is vehicles. Vehicles. So, that's why meron akong team na kahit sa kalsada. And then, the cleanliness, yung ating creeks and the Balili River. And then, of course, yung pang-apat, the regreening of Baguio. Those are the 4 major parts of the Alay sa Kalinisan. Then, I started calling some of the members of the community from the private sectors. Fortunately, many responded, and this was in 1993. We started it, and then our mission, vision, let us bring back the image of the city as a clean city in the Philippines or even in Asia. Ganon yung ano namin. Then the following year, we incorporated the Alay sa Kalinisan. We registered it as already with the Securities and Exchange Commission. Then we have a timetable of 2 years to bring back the cleanliness of the City of Baguio, but with the teamwork, cooperation of the people of Baguio, of course, led by us at that time. Alam nyo, first na lumabas yung programa ng national government of Clean and Green, na they have been judging the cleanest and greenest local government units entire the country. 1994, first time na lumabas yan. Hindi ko ini-expect, nanalo ang Baguio. Tinalo natin yung Davao, Bacolod, all the cities in the metro, lahat. Olongapo. Yeah, so, we got 1 million as a prize in the plaque. As the cleanest and greenest, highly urbanized city in the Philippines. No? The following year, 1995, we retained our status as the cleanest and greenest. So, second time na nanalo tayo. Another 1 million. And then, 1996, third year, dyan ako, give up ako kasi Olongapo was chosen as the venue of the G7 conference. Alam mo yung G7? It's a conference of the head of nations, the President of the United States, Great Britain, Germany, Russia. Lahat sila mag-conferensya dito. Yun. So, may binigay ng national government na, I think, about 2 billion to make the image of Olongapo presentable to the leaders of the world. So, diyan ako kinakabahan. Matalo ang Baguio. And Olongapo, in fairness, siyang lumalaban siya third or second, medyo time na nag-second sa Baguio ang Davao. And then later on na dislodge yung Davao, Bacolod. Later on,
Subic.
at Olongapo.
Olongapo.
Oh. Ngunit yung awarding sa Lunita, I was in my complete J-string. Walang underwear. Talaga, bahag lang. Walang...
May picture po yata yun eh.
Yeah.
Oo.
Then, talagang I was nervous. So, I was waiting. And then later on, second runner-up, which number, of course, sinabi nila yung 10 cleanest and greenest highly urbanized city. And then they started. Second runner-up, Davao. I think nawala na yung Davao. So, ito na. Kasi, kung ako ang Baguio City, ang first runner-up, din for sure, Olongapo is the winner. And then, in full force, yung Olongapo, led by Mayor Kit Gordon that time. Then, nakaganon ako dyan. All of a sudden, first runner-up, Olongapo sila. Bagyo na. Bagyo. Then, nandyan si President Ramos, the first Lady Ming Ramos, the Secretary of Local Government, mga cabinet secretaries, the champion, City of Baguio. Then, so, I went there. I received and then said, they proclaim, since the City of Baguio had won for 3 successive years, Baguio City is now awarded as the Hall of Famer in this.
Grabe,
So,
no?
binigay ako yung trophy na Hall of Fame, 2 million cash award, plus 1 million, so 3 million yung natanggap ko that same night. Yan. At the same time also that year, because of that program, nanalo tayo. First na sinimulan ng national government yung what they call as the Gawad Pamana ng Lahi Award, known as the Mother of All Awards. So, it covers everything. It covers of course, yung inyong system of governance, yung revenue collection, infrastructure in implementation, environmental protection, which covers the garbage, so on. Sinasabi natin, all naka-cover dyan. Then, Malacan yung awarding. I did not expect, again, but I received a letter. Hindi naman sinabi dyan na tayo ang nanalo sa Heritage Award, Gawad Pamana ng Lahi Award. Noong nandyan kami, i-pronounce nila, Baguio City,
na naman.
first winner in the Gawad Pamana ng Lahi Award. 2 million yung cash award. And then the following year, na-sustain yung Baguio City yan. Tayo ang unfortunately, kung 2 taon na sunod-sunod na nanalo ka, you are already Hall of Fame, wala ka na sa next year. So, nakaipon tayo ng 9 million sa awards na yan, na yun yung nagamit natin, na dinagdagan natin in purchasing garbage truck direct from Japan. Ginamit natin sa city. Okay.
Grabe po yun, Attorney.
Marami yung kwento. That's why...
Actually, Attorney, I
story.
just have to say this. Nung pinapakinggan ko yung story nyo, I was reminded by a verse, yung, those who are faithful in small things will be faithful in bigger things. Naalala ko yan eh.
Tama yan.
Kasi naalala ko yung kwento mo na ang inaalagaan mo lang dati yung scholarship mo, inaalagaan mo to, ginagawa mo yung best mo sa maliliit na bagay na to. And then all of a sudden, after how many years, you're taking care of the whole city and you do it well.
Ako, yung isang counselor dyan. Kasi wala ako sa gobyerno. Yung isang naisip ko, anong magagawa ko sa awa ng Diyos? Ako'y nakapagtapos sa nag-graduates of my elementary alma mater. Ang hirap-hirap. So, pumasok sa aking isip. Hindi libre yung high school at that time. Yung honor students na mag-graduate dyan, aking scholars. I was still singer, binata ako. Scholar ko sila. Babayaran ko yung kanilang tuition fee. I did not expect return. But in line with my seeing na sana, kayong aming mga anak, mas maganda ang inyong kinabukasan kisa amin. Huwag sana ninyong matikman ang hirap at difficulties na nadaanan namin. Because the happiness of parents is the success of their children.
Mismo.
Speaking of struggles, attorney, tatanungin ko lang, sa dami ng mga nakwento nyong struggles nung nakaupo kayo sa term nyo, and accomplishments, syempre, bakit nyo pagugustuhin tumakbo, attorney?
Alam mo, hindi matatapos yung dapat mong gawin sa mundong ibabaw. Yung concerns at problema natin during the time that I was in Congress, nag-iba na. Alam nyo, kung mabigyan tayo ng pagkakataon by our people of Baguio, beloved people of Baguio, to go back to Congress, ang isang gawin natin, isaayos natin ang amended city charter. Siguro hindi ninyo nabasa yan, ngunit ang dami ang problema dyan na dapat isaayos natin. Yung boundary dispute natin, Baguio City and Toba, dapat nasimulan natin yan. And then, ikalawa, kasama din yan, yung disposition ng alienable and disposable public lands. Siguro, hindi ninyo naiintindihan yan. Marami pa ang lupa na part ng ating town site reservation na inaplayan ng mga occupants and applicants ng town site sales application na 40 years, 50 years, 30 years yung kanilang application hanggang pa ngayon hindi pa nabigay yung titulo sa kanila. At disadvantageous sa kanila, disadvantageous sa city government kasi hindi sila nagbabayad ng buwis sa lupa. Yung binabayaran nila na buwis lang, yung kanilang bahay at improvements. Yet the city is obligated to deliver the services to them in terms of infrastructure and others. So, yun. Solution yan. Meron kami namang ginawang, actually, naayos namin yan. Ako ang nagdepensa sa Bicameral Conference Committee noon sa Kongreso. It was approved by both houses of Congress yung amendment ng city charter. Si Senator Dillon, Senator Pangilinan, ay talagang batikang mga abogado, mga yan. Nag-attendar sa Bicameral Conference Committee. And naaprubahan yan. Unfortunately, galit na galit si Noynoy sa akin. Binito ni Noynoy. Unfortunately. Nung ginawa ni itong amendment na sinasabi ko, hindi nila kinonsider yung mga points na yan. Wala, hindi nila inadapt. Yung solution sa problema ng alienable and disposable public land na gusto kong gawin kung makabalik sa Kongreso, alisin natin yung town site sales application, palitan natin ang miscellaneous direct awards sa actual occupant in or qualified applicant. Walang public bidding. Nandyan yung valuation sa batas na iyon yung babayaran nila. Kung may award sa kanila yan. Parang we settle the issue of ownership which can help address yung land speculation in squatting. At the same time, magbayad sila ng buwis sa city government. And then ikalawa, yung ibalik natin, ito na naman, yung problema sa amended city charter. Hindi na ilagay yung provision na lahat ng pagbintahan mo sa alienable and disposable public lands, yung babayaran mo under the old city charter na inadapt namin sa aming sa amendment namin, punta sa city, walang punta sa national. Itong amended city charter na alis yan. Wala. Wala. Susunod na i-correct mo dyan, tayo, highly urbanized city tayo. Highly urbanized, chartered city. Independent tayo sa Benguet. Nilagay sa amended city charter na yung ating approved ordinance isubmit mo sa provincial board ng Benguet. Hindi tama yan. Kasi you only do that kung yung status natin component city. Kung component city, hindi kayo independent sa province of Benguet. Ngunit tayo highly urbanized, chartered city tayo, independent from conflicting. Kasi meron naman nilagay na, sabi niya, the city shall remain as highly urbanized city. Yun lang. Ngunit, bakit mo isusubmitar sa province of Benguet yung inyong approved ordinance? Susunod yan. Alisin natin sa provision ng city charter yung nakalagay na Janhay. Marami yung reservation ng city. Bakit mo ilagay yung Janhay na mali pa ang land area na nilagay nila? In-increase nila yung land area sa city charter. Hindi naman tama yan eh. Serious yung consequence kasi that will now encroach existing barangays. Ano naman yan? Alisin. I-correct natin yan. So, sunod na gawin mo dyan. Marami ang gagawin sa Congress. Yung sinimulan natin na hindi natin natapos. Ano yan? Yung Forbes Park Parcel 3 Gibraltar. Reservation yan. Ngunit long time ago, occupied by people. Na-convince natin yung DNR na alisin natin as part of Forbes Park Reservation para may award na sa actual or qualified applicant. Final ko ng bill, hindi natapos during my time. Hindi naman na refile. Yun, yung talagang i-refile natin. Parang maayos yan. Sunod, yung mining reservation. Alam mo yung mining reservation? Part ng Upper Gibraltar, Mines View, and then Luacan, Apugan, and then Atok Trail, Kias. Mining reservation yan. Tingnan mo, occupied by people. Hindi naman nila pwedeng applyan kasi mining reservation. Nasimulan natin during the time of Executive Director Roquisa De Castro na i-amin natin yan, mawalang mining reservation. Hindi naman nagagamit na mining yan eh. So, marami yung gawin mo dyan sa Kongreso. Kung meron tayong time na isa-isahin na yan, yung Cordillera Autonomy, and then, of course, yung 13 barangays ng Janhay, na dapat alisin mo sa Janhay. Parang it will become alienable and disposable para yung mga areas na qualified to be titled under the IPRA law, let them apply it under the IPRA law. Yung hindi ma-qualify dyan, then sana pumasok yung amendment na direct award sa actual qualified applicant. I-award mo diretso sa qualified actual occupant. Hindi maibigay sa BCDA or sa national government yung pagbintahan mo sa pagbabayad ng mga awardees. So marami ang ayusin natin dyan.
So, so you would say, attorney, na yung mga naumpisa mo hindi pa tapos, kaya ka tatakbo kasi the job is not done.
Yes, job, maraming trabaho na hindi pa natapos at meron pang talagang magawa na
a lot of things have
maidadagdag.
been accomplished, but
Hindi pa
more things to
natin
do.
pinag-usapan yung edukasyon, yung health. Of course, lahat ng kandidato, kaya namin yan, kaya namin. I plead to the people of Baguio na usisahin nila kami na mga kandidato. Madaling magsalita. Usisahin ninyo kami. In our private life, makakatulong sa inyo to decide who.
Yes, attorney. Speaking of private life, attorney, gusto naming itanong din, on your private life, syempre ang tagal ng last term nyo, since your last term. Kamusta naman ang private life, attorney? Kamusta kayo as a husband, as a father, as a granddad?
Well, of course, we do our best. Hindi tayo perfecto. Kagaya din ninyo. Meron tayong maraming pagkukulang. But ako, simply lang, there must be time for your family, time for your job. Ganon naman. When I was in City Hall, alam nyo, morning, up to 4 o'clock in the afternoon, usually you attend to a lot of series of speaking engagement, inspection. Ngunit 4 o'clock, up to even 9 o'clock, I made it to myself. Hindi ako pwedeng uuwi na. Hindi ko natapos kausapin lahat ng gustong magparating ng kanilang problema sa akin. At lahat ng mga dokumento na pumasok sa aking opisina during that day, I have to finish them during that day.
Grabe.
Except yung mga kailangan yung referrals to other agencies. Ngunit lahat, pipirmahan ko yan. Kahit na aabot ako ng 9 o'clock in the evening. Now that in my private practice, well, sinasabi nila, wala na yan, matanda yan. But, alam nyo, not to brag. I've been going to Cabanatuan. Magluwas ako ng 5 o'clock dito. Mag-hearing ka sa Cabanatuan, sa San Jose City. Meron pa. Pumunta ako sa Binyan, Laguna. Magluwas ako ng 2:15 in the morning dito. 4:30 matapos ka sa Laguna, balik ako sa Baguio. Ganon.
Grabe.
Of course, and usually, I go home from my office always late. Yan ang problema ko, pagkukulang ko kay Mrs. 7 o'clock or even past 7 o'clock. Kasi yung time na yan, time na walang masyadong darating na kliyente to check some pleadings or documents. Diyan ako mag-check. Ganun yung ginagawa ko to more, of course, manage my time.
Tsaka at least po your wife supports you. Yun yung pinaka-importante dun.
Well, of course, I love and I like my wife. The time that janitor ako ng city ng 18 years, hindi nakikialam. Of course, she helped me by bringing me some comments and against me and make some suggestions. Ngunit, hindi siya nakikialam. Not to brag. Wala kaming pwesto sa market or during that length of time na ako ay nanilbihan. Kahit not any of my family.
Galing.
Galing po. Last question po, attorney. Ano ang nakikita nyo na Baguio para sa mga apo nyo? How do you see Baguio for your grandkids?
Of course. For you, our young children, gusto natin na we have Baguio as a peaceful with good infrastructure development, environmentally balanced, and with basic facilities available. That's why yung bulk water supply na sininimulan namin noon, I hope that will materialize to address the water problem of Baguio. So, yun lang, simple. Gusto natin na ang Baguio maintain as a peaceful city with the environmentally managed a clean city na with basic facilities provided, good infrastructures. That's why yung congestion, I repeat, dapat, and I pray that the adjoining towns, part of Bliss, La Trinidad, Itugon, Sablan, Toba, now, sinali natin yung Tublay, will also develop para meron tayong alternative na puntahan ng development. Condominium at puntahan ng Baguio ay puntahan ng mga gustong titira
Mga
dito.
tourist po.
Hindi concentrated lahat
Sa
sa
Baguio.
Ganon naman yan. That's why, ganon. Then, yung mga services sa inyong mga tao, City Hall must be, this is the office of the people, accessible to everybody, regardless of your status in life.
That's right. Tama.
So, ang ganda ng episode, sabi sa inyo eh. Message to our viewers, our listeners po, attorney.
Well, to our beloved listeners and viewers, people of Baguio, and even in the surrounding areas. We pray that the Lord will continue to shower us good health and continue to work together for the betterment of the city of Baguio. No one has the monopoly of knowledge. We need everybody's help to contribute, address a lot of our challenges confronting us. And in this coming election, we plead to you that, as we said, you exercise your right of suffrage wisely. Wag naman ibintayan. Because this is the only instance wherein the vote of the poorest man in the country is equivalent to the vote of the richest man in the country. This determines the future of our city. Wag natin ibasta-basta yan. Let us take it seriously, exercise it wisely, and select among us who you think will serve the city of Baguio in a way na it is, of course, a God-fearing administration, honest, transparent and accountable, and services open to everybody.
Yun. Sabi nga nila, the world has yet to see a man fully devoted in serving his city and his people. So, vote wisely talaga.
Tama. Okay. Thank you so much for watching, for listening. Again, this is Migs.
This is Kevin.
Again, Attorney Dumogan. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Salamat.
Attorney, thank you so much po.
Salamat po. Bless.
Thank you for watching. Please follow us on Instagram and Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And see you on the next episode.